Has there ever been a time when you saw the weather outside and it's raining and it looks shitty and you just feel like shit? Or there are times when someone said something and it really just stuck with your head, like, oh, you're too stupid, or oh, you're too dumb, or you're never gonna be good enough? Or when there was a time at work when someone really criticized the way you do things and you just keep thinking about it over and over and over again. Yup, that happens all the time. So today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's written by Stephen Covey. It's a great book, really helpful on productivity, on self-growth. This video series is going to be on those 7 habits. The first video today is going to be on the first habit, and that first habit is being proactive on things. So what do I mean by that? Typically in life, when there's an obstacle or when there's a challenge or just something that stops us from doing things, we tend to be reactive about that. In my earlier example, when it's raining outside or when it looks like shit, we tend to feel like shit too. That's just us being reactive to a certain stimuli or just something that's in our environment. Or even if someone makes fun of you, that stuff sticks to your head. And why does that happen? It's because we're reactive to that. The first habit that Covey mentions in his book is to be proactive instead of reactive. And when we're proactive, we have the choice to respond to the stimuli that's thrown to us. If someone makes fun of us, we have the decision to let that overtake our feelings, let that ruin our day. We have the power to choose what those words mean to us. For me, one of the things that I was having issues with was my height. When I was younger, I used to be so insecure about my height and it would really hinder my dating. Whenever I would go on dates, the first thing that would come to my head would be, oh, does she think I'm too short? Should I wear these heel extensions? Should I wear something that make me look taller? And I did do that for a couple of years. I ended up wearing these foot extensions where it made me look a couple of inches taller. One, I think that's bullshit because that's just superficial shit that's making you feel good about yourself. You're not helping yourself internally. But at the time, I really thought that elevated my confidence. Spoiler alert, it really didn't. It kept me hung up on my height throughout the whole time. The other thing I would do during dates is the first thing I would mention is my height because I was so insecure about it. It's just so counterintuitive because you're just giving this idea to the person that's one of the most important things to you and you just have to get that out of the way. I took something where it was like my physical attribute, my height, and I reacted to it by wearing these shoe lifts to show that I'm taller, and I also reacted by just immediately talking about my height. Instead, I just ended up shooting myself in the foot. So the anime I'm going to talk about in this video is Naruto, and I'm not going to do the Naruto run or anything stupid like that, but all in all, it's a really great anime. It's one of the animes that I grew up with. In Naruto, you have a young boy named Naruto who's on this journey to become a Hokage, or the leader of his village. Now, before the events of Naruto, what happened was there was a demon fox called the Nine-Tailed Fox that attacked the village. The 4th Hokage at the time, or the fourth leader at the time, actually took that demon fox and sealed it into his own son. And in the process of Naruto's father sealing up the demon fox, his parents end up sacrificing themselves because they sealed this demon fox into Naruto. And that's when the events of Naruto happen, where you kind of see him being shunned by his villagers. He doesn't really have friends or family. He's an orphan. Now, everyone in the show, or like everyone in the village, they don't know that the 4th Hokage's son is in fact Naruto. Instead, they just think of Naruto as the boy who has the demon fox and can attack at any time. And because of that, the villagers have shunned Naruto and pushed him away. And a way to mitigate with that, or a way to cope with that, is that Naruto does these mischievous things. But the reason he does that is because he just wants attention from people. He's never gotten attention from anyone else. So this was his way of coping with that. The reason why Naruto wants to become Hokage was so that all his villagers and the people who live in that village come to respect him. He wants them to acknowledge him because of who he is. As he gets older and matures throughout the story, he ends up becoming Hokage of the village, but his reasons for becoming Hokage have actually evolved compared to what he wanted to do when he was a kid. He wants to become the leader so that way he can protect all his loved ones and also just make sure that kids like him don't experience the same shit that he went through. It's pretty noble. That's what I want to show, that Naruto ends up being proactive about his decision to become Hokage. He could have become reactive. He knows he has a demon fox within him. He could have used that demon fox to, I don't know, forcibly take over the village and just wreak havoc, but he chose to be proactive about it. He chose to use his power for good, so that way people can come to love and acknowledge him. He didn't do it in a fucking egotistical way. He didn't use his demon fox powers so that way people will grow to respect him. He did it so that way he can protect and save the people he loves. That's what it takes to be proactive about something. It's taking the things you have, being okay with it and accepting who you are, and learn to use that to your advantage. Here, Naruto had the demon fox. He was shunned. People feared him because of his demon fox powers. Yes, it did hurt him all throughout his younger adolescent life. Yes, it definitely fucked with his childhood, but instead of being evil or instead of using that against him, he ended up accepting his demon fox and even becoming friends with that demon fox, and using that power to unite his village and to even unite people outside of his village. So he used it to his advantage, he used it for a greater good. And that's the same thing about being proactive. In my case, I had my height, right? I was so worried about what people thought of me. I was so insecure about my height, and to be reactive to it, I ended up buying these shoe lifts to make me taller. But then as I've gotten older, I've learned to accept that and be proactive about it and embrace my height. Now, that didn't mean I go talk about my height in the very beginning of the date. I don't even mention my height, but I've learned to be proactive about it and learn to accept it and just move on with my life. Whatever issues that you're having, you have the power to let it make you or to break you. My height, it made me who I am today. I'm very proud of my height because that's just who I am. That's something I can't change. I could have done surgery or I could have done all that stuff, but realistically and from an internal standpoint, it wouldn't have helped me grow. When you're being reactive, let's say if someone makes fun of you, you have the power to let it fuck with your head, or you can have the power to say, fuck that. You don't even know who I am. I know who I am, and that insult doesn't mean shit. And the same thing, like if the weather outside is shitty, if it's raining outside, that shouldn't affect how you feel, because you're letting all that stuff predictate how you should live your life. Instead, how about you respond to that shit? How about if it's raining outside, you look at that and you'll be like, all right, cool, it's raining outside. I'll bring an umbrella. Not a big deal. If you see any other anime or video games that go hand in hand with that first habit about being proactive, feel free to write that in the comments below. And as you know, the point of this video and the point of this channel is to help you become a better person. I want to help people become the best versions of themselves. When people become the best versions of themselves, I truly believe that society can become better. My next video will be on the second habit, but until then, I'll see you later, guys. Take care.